Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant, and today I would like to talk about engineering and my journey from absolutely despising it, hating every second of studying it. It was excruciating how I would try to force myself to do my homework, to study, to learn the subjects when I just completely hated it. I transformed from that to loving engineering, loving science, loving my classes, and being excited for the next term. I'm always like, oh, this upcoming term, I'm going to be learning this and this and this. I can't wait. I better study a lot right now so that I can get a good understanding next term, right? So I'm prepared for next term so I can learn all this cool stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about that journey and how I was able to change perspectives, because when I first started out going to college, the reason I did engineering was because my dad is an engineer, and so I thought, okay, I guess I'll do what he does, right? And I was looking at the different majors, and I saw engineering, like, okay, like, that's the only major that makes a little bit of money, and just judging from like what I've seen with my family and everything, right? Like, okay, so if engineering is one of the top majors, and we're definitely not rich, right? My family is definitely not rich. And so I was looking at it and I was thinking, like, hey, like, if we're struggling this much with my dad being an engineer, if I'm anything less than an engineer, there's no way that we're going to be able to survive, right? Like, when I'm out of the house and everything. So I was thinking, like, okay, so I have to do engineering. So my main motivations for doing engineering was because I guess it's the default one. Okay, my dad did it. Sure, I guess I can start with engineering. And number two is I wanted the money, right? That was the biggest motivation, is I wanted to be rich. I wanted to make a lot of money. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do engineering, right? And then that worked all right in the beginning of the classes, because they're fairly simple. They're taking Calc 1, right? Derivative calculus, and few of your chemistry courses are not really that difficult, so you just, okay, go through them, right? But I started getting into problems when I started entering my little bit more technical, not the actual engineering classes, but a little bit more technical classes, such as, I remember I had a pretty difficult time when I was trying to do integral calculus. For some reason, the end part was doing what was it? The cylindrical, spherical and cylindrical methods. I hated that. I couldn't figure out what on earth was going on. So, I had a heck of a hard time learning integral calculus, and so at the time, I was going to school full time as well. So it was really difficult to try to do full time school, full-time work when I hated engineering. When I would go to study, I wouldn't be excited about it. I wouldn't care about actually learning the material. The only thing that I cared about was getting an acceptable passing grade so I could go on to the next term. So that's the only thing that I cared about. That was my only goal. And as you can expect, this didn't pan out very well for me. So I started getting over my head. I didn't study as much as I should have because I had no motivation, right? Then eventually it got too much and I dropped out of engineering. So I thought, okay, so what am I going to do now? Out of engineering, what major am I going to do? So I picked business, because business is, honestly, there's no actual learning that went on in business. I could very easily do full-time college and full-time work. I was taking my 300 level business classes while working full-time, and I was getting straight A's and everything. I barely did any homework. All I did was go to class and pay attention in class, and then do just the bare minimum of the homework, which was extremely easy. You could get it done in like 2-3 hours for the week, and it's like over, right? So it was extremely easy, but I didn't feel whole, or not whole. I didn't feel accomplished. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't learning anything. And the more I studied business, the more I just started to have a passionate hatred of business. There was no production going on. There was nothing to actually make anything better. Nothing was getting produced. Nothing was making society better. Nothing was pushing development or knowledge, there was nothing. It was all future values, or you have your current value and what's the future value, and trying to make them equal with expected returns and stuff. It was extremely just disgusting. I hated it, and that's when I started realizing, oh, actually, I kind of do like engineering. The way that there was actually something being done. It was going forward with technology. It was making people's lives better. It was solving these problems that people have and need solved. So that was my first time when I actually started to respect engineering and started realizing, like, hey, actually, this is kind of a pretty cool subject. Man, why did I quit? Like, I really kicked myself because I dropped out of engineering. I was like, it's actually a pretty cool subject. Like, okay. But I'm in business right now. Like, I can't go back. And so I was in my business term, right? I was at Portland State University, and I just kept getting, the more I studied business, the more I hated it, and I really, really wanted to go back into engineering. And at that time, I was thinking, like, I cannot waste any more time. I can't. If I'm going to go to engineering, I have to go to engineering, right? I'm not going to go back and forth, go business, engineering, business, engineering, business, engineering. And I still had the problem of, I'm going to school, or I'm going to work full time, so how am I going to deal with all of this? What happened was, my boss, I talked with him, and he's also an engineer. He was a chemical engineer. My boss was. And I talked with him, and he was telling me that because I was a contractor, I wasn't working for the company as like a permanent employee with all the benefits and all of that, right? Pay was pretty low. He said, well, because you're a contractor, you don't need to work 40 hours anymore. I can talk with upper management and see if they'll allow that, and they did. So what I did was I cut my hours from 40 hours a week down to 24. So I did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 hours a day. So I did that, and then I said, okay, cool, I'm going to go back for engineering. But the problem still was, how am I going to guarantee that I'm going to be successful? Well, so I started thinking about this question, and what I realized was, I remembered when I was a kid, there was this one game, and I don't play very many games, but I remember there was this game. It was called MapleStory, and it's this little MMORPG is what it's called. Massively multi online role-playing game. I forget the exact acronym, but what it was is it's this game where you are a character and you control this character and it's connected through the internet. So there's this online world that you are playing as and going through. And you level up this character and gain new abilities and the such. So I was able to play that game for a very long time, and I didn't get bored. Objectively speaking, it was extremely boring. Because what was I doing during this game? I was playing the game, just killing monsters over and over and over. You would just go through a map, just killing monsters, leveling up, going through, gaining experience. Objectively speaking, that was the most boring thing I could think of doing. Oh, and furthermore, there was no actual accomplishment. What do I get when I level my character up to a particular level? Nothing actually happens, right? So I realized, why was I able to put so much energy into that game? Why was I able to just sit at the computer focused for like 10 hours a day during that summer break? Why is that? And I never felt bored. I never got the feeling of, oh man, this sucks. It was always, oh, this is great. I had a wonderful time. So what I tried to do was I took what I liked about that game, what caused me to not get bored, and tried to apply it to engineering. So what did I do? I started trying to picture myself as this kind of character, that I am the little avatar thing, right? Like, and then, so here I am, and what is school? School is just simply gaining experience. So every time I would come up with a problem, right? This was this was like killing a monster, right? You've solved this problem. The teacher gives you a homework assignment, and there's a whole bunch of different problems, and each one, if you kill it, right, you gain the experience. So I started thinking about it in these terms, where I was leveling myself up so that I could start to be a high-level engineer, right? And then I would further get encouragement by the fact that this actually does have merit to it, that that becoming a high-level engineer actually does impact the world, that it does make a difference, that it does have some value, that unlike that game, right, that was completely useless, it was a complete waste of my time. Now, when I level up, there's a world of use for it. The higher I can become as an engineer, the more I can do for this world. When I graduate, now I can go to this company or that company and the other company, and no matter which company I am at, I am going to be making a huge difference, and that difference is directly proportional to the amount of studying I do right now. So that was extremely inspiring, and when I started to think about it in these terms, all of a sudden I started to really enjoy studying, because I would be doing my class and I would be thinking about, I'm gaining a new ability, right? And that was the other thing about MapleStory, is this little character, the more you leveled up, the more abilities you got. So how do you translate that into engineering? Very simple. Because every single time you learn a new subject, whatever it is, like I remember when I was learning about, it's called Laplace transforms. When I started learning about this, what I would think about it is grabbing this this problem, right? And then here comes a portal, and sticking it through the portal, right? Sticking it through the portal is a Laplace transform. Then you attack it in the time, or not the time domain, the frequency domain, the S domain, right? You attack it in this domain, and then you take it out. This is the inverse Laplace transform, right? And now you're back in the time domain. So that's one example of a ability, a skill that I gained, right, as I learned to attack these problems. So every single time I would learn a new topic, this would be a new skill that I would be able to level up in, and then put skill points in towards this goal. So that started changing the way that I started viewing every single subject that I learned. This was no longer something that, oh man, I have to do this, I have to learn about that. It became, oh cool, oh now they're giving me this opportunity to, they're giving me a new skill, and now I can go and apply it and try to level this skill up as high as I can so that I can apply it as efficiently as possible. And through this mentality, this way of looking at it, I started getting to the point where I legitimately enjoyed engineering and I loved it, right? And this has been like, what, 3 years since I went back into engineering, and it has not worn off. I didn't lose steam. I'm loving engineering more than I ever have. Every single term I love it even more, and I get more excited. So what happened was, now I was able to save up just through a lot of hard work. I saved up a fair amount of money, and now I'm going to school full-time. I'm doing my upper level 300 division classes at Oregon State University right now, and I absolutely love it. I haven't had that drain that a lot of times you'll come up with you'll do something and then you'll just, oh yeah, like that. It hasn't happened here. Every single time I go to school, I'm extremely happy and excited to figure out what skills and abilities I'm going to learn, how I'm going to become a higher level engineer, and then I have that vision of what I'm working towards, that actually there is something in this that I am going to be able to make a difference in this world and make a positive impact and move society and our understanding of this world and our technological abilities, the human race's technological abilities. I'm going to be able to move that forward, and that has helped me through engineering, even though it's an extremely difficult subject. So the reason I wanted to make this video was, maybe this method was extremely helpful to me, and I know a lot of other people are struggling with getting motivation to do engineering and trying to actually move forward in it. So I wanted to share this method. Maybe you can either just directly take the method that I used or apply it to whatever works best for you. So yeah, if you liked this method, I'm going to be trying to make more videos about engineering, some of the methodologies that I have for getting motivation and going forward, and just make a lot more engineering related videos. So if you would like that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here, and I don't have anything else for this video. So yeah, my name was Timothy Lee Grant, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. See ya.